After his wife passed away, leaving behind their 6-year-old daughter Felicity, Stephen chose to remain single to raise her. But when Felicity became a little older and independent, Stephen started to date again. It was soon after he met Beth and felt a kind of happiness he hadn't in a long time. They instantly connected. The couple were planning on taking things to the next level. That's when Stephen asked Beth to move in with him and brought her to meet Felicity. "Wow, you're really tech-savvy," Beth said, looking around at all the electronics in Felicity's room. "Well, I'm not ancient. I'm a millennial." "Cool." Felicity was only 15, but she didn't seem immature or crazy as kids her age would be. Beth had been a little worried if she would be accepting of her. But Felicity turned out mature and understanding, and after a great first family dinner, it was official. Beth was moving in. However, with the move, Beth's life got a little difficult. The first of which was traveling to work from Stephen's place. Beth worked as a marketing analyst at the BII Corp, and it took almost 1 hour driving to get there. "Wow, a new dress? I have this big event at the office on Friday. The company's foreign business partners will be coming. I have to make a good impression." Beth had been preparing for this meeting for some time now. She had practiced her speech, made a foolproof marketing scheme, and lastly, she would look her best. But come Friday morning, when Beth stepped out of the bathroom wearing her new dress, it felt a bit too small. 3 sizes small to be exact. "How did this get so tight? It was fine when I bought it. Maybe you put on some weight. How much weight can I gain in 2 days? Or did I mistake the size? Why don't you just wear something else?" "Stephen, I bought this because I didn't have anything else." "Oh, so now what?" "I don't have a choice. I'll just have to manage." With much struggle, Beth got ready and headed out, feeling absolutely stuffed. She thought she would be able to pull it off, but when she got in front of everyone for her presentation, she fell into quite the dilemma. If you follow the graph, you'll see from the product promotions on social media how the company has profited significantly. Beth awkwardly glanced at everyone, unable to lift her arm or move in her dress. "Mrs. Adams, is everything okay?" Yes. Hearing that loud tearing sound, Beth went red in embarrassment. Please excuse me." Leaning against the wall and hiding her back from everyone as they stared at her in confusion, Beth managed to escape and rush to the restroom. What am I going to do? How am I going to go back? As the minutes ticked by and everyone was definitely waiting for her, Beth peeked into the hallway to see none but the janitor. Hey. "Me? $20 for the hoodie." And so, Beth wore the oversized hoodie on top of her classy tight dress and returned to give her presentation. Wasn't the janitor wearing a hoodie like that? After a long day, Beth couldn't be more relieved when she finally came home and got out of the dress. "You won't believe what happened today. My dress literally tore in the middle of the presentation. My boss is probably pissed at me and everyone thinks I'm a freak." "Wow, well, I went out and bought a new dress for you, so maybe tomorrow you can make a better impression." "Really? Thanks, Stefan. This means so much to me." The next morning, Beth got her new dress prepared, her makeup, jewelry, and hopped into the shower. But moments later, Stephen heard a loud scream from the bathroom. Beth rushed out, holding her black hair that was now blotched blonde in all the wrong places. "What did you do to your hair?" "I used a new shampoo. I didn't know it was also dye. How am I going to go to work like this?" Once again, as Beth walked into the conference room wearing a beanie on her head with her formal dress, she caught strange looks immediately. Bearing the strange looks, Beth quietly tried to pass the meeting. But when it came time for her to get up, her boss passed her a killer glance. "Take off that hat. Who wears that to an exclusive meeting? Are you trying to make a fool out of us?" No, it's... "Take it off." "You don't understand, okay?" And so, Beth had no choice but to flash her messed up bleached curls at the conference table. When Beth returned home that evening, she was feeling awfully low. Why was this happening to her? Even if she didn't get fired, the humiliation was bad enough. Trying to clear her mind and breathe, Beth started cleaning up. She gathered up all the trash and went to drop it out in the bin outside, when she stopped, noticing a strange package. Blonde hair dye. So this is what is going on. You've been pulling these pranks. Felicity. Felicity. She was her daddy's little sweetheart. But perhaps not so innocent. Felicity knew if she had to get Beth out, she would have to do it cunningly. Because crying to daddy, "She's not my mom," or "I don't like your girlfriend," definitely wasn't going to work. So she planned to give Beth a hard time so she herself would give up and leave, the first of which was exchanging her dress. "I have a big event at the office this Friday. I have to make a good impression." While Beth was off to work the following day, Felicity had taken the dress back to the store and got it exchanged for an extra small. And the blonde dye, that was just the icing on the cake for all the other things she had coming. If that's how you want to play the game, then let's play the game. Felicity was more than happy when she saw Beth walking around with that bleached hair. It was hilarious. Cruella, or more like one of her Dalmatians. Good times, Felicity, good times. The next morning, Felicity was off to school. Today, she was to submit in her science project. Felicity had prepared a video presentation and walked up in front of the class. But just as she pressed play, she froze hearing her voice from the speaker, her 5-year-old voice. "When I grow up, I want to be a cat, like my pet cat. Sir eats a lot, because he eats a lot. I will meow like him." Felicity was shocked seeing one of her childhood videos. How did this get on here? She rushed to turn it off, but it seemed like it was too late. "I will climb onto the wardrobe like him." Stephen, take the cat out. He's pooping on the carpet again." "I will also poo on the carpet like him." "No, Felicity, no!" Seeing the video, everyone roared in laughter, and Felicity stood there in embarrassment. And as expected, the rest of the day went by in which she had become a meme. "Excuse me, miss, may I go to the restroom?" And the entire class shouted out, "No, Felicity, no!" Luckily, the next day was Saturday, and hopefully everyone would forget her little incident come Monday. Felicity was in her room getting ready to go out with some friends. She plugged in her hair straightener and brushed out her long hair. But the minute she went to straighten it, she couldn't get the straightener off her hair. What is happening? Why isn't it coming off? Hearing her scream, Beth rushed to her room to see Felicity crying in front of the mirror. A huge chunk of her hair literally melted off with the straightener. Felicity, how did this happen? I don't know. My hair. Don't worry, we can fix this. It's not that bad. I mean, just look at my hair. You know what? Let's go to the salon. Beth got her hair dyed black again, and Felicity had to get a boy's haircut. But as they both looked into the mirror, Felicity noticed a sly smirk on Beth's face. Felicity, do you believe in karma? You. Beth had had her laugh. Payback well done. She had stuck some wax into the inside of Felicity's straightener, and looks like the plan worked fine. But this was the beginning of the Cold War. From then on, Felicity wouldn't let go of any opportunity to prank Beth. Breakfast is on the table. I'm running late. Gotta go. Bye. Beth grabbed her coffee off the table and hurried out. However, in the middle of her conference, she suddenly felt her stomach begin to churn. Oh no. Are you okay, Miss Adams? Just one moment, please. Beth spent all day running to the bathroom from a troubled stomach. Felicity, what did you do? Oh, it's just some laxative pills. Won't do any harm, but it'll teach you a good lesson. Felicity chuckled as she hid the pills and got ready for bed. But it was just as she turned on her bedside lamp. All of a sudden, everything in her room went dark, and she heard a loud noise from all her devices. Dad! Felicity rushed to her dad's room, almost crying. Dad, my laptop, my tablet, my gaming PC, everything got ruined. How can that happen? I don't know. All of a sudden, Beth walked in. I just checked it out. Looks like all of Felicity's devices malfunctioned in a short circuit. But what's strange, it was only in her room. My laptop is fine. What about yours, Steven? Yeah, mine too. I'll go take a look. You may be a millennial, but I grew up watching MacGyver. This time, after Beth had gotten back at Felicity, it seemed she had toned down. It was suspicious, a bit too suspicious. Beth and Steven were home one night when she received a call from an unknown number. Who was that? I don't know. Beth innocently pressed the speaker. It was a woman. Hello, may I speak to Miss Beth Adams? Yes, it's Beth. Hi, Beth. This is Tiffany from VII Labs. According to our records here, you had a recent abortion done at the clinic? I was just calling to confirm the appointment for next week. It's recommended after the abortion procedure you get another checkup. Steven turned to look at Beth in shock. What? Did you get pregnant? And you aborted the child without telling me? No, this has to be a mistake. Miss Beth Adams, are you there? You've got the wrong number. Hearing the faint chuckle just as the line disconnected, Beth shook her head. This girl. Felicity had gotten a friend to do the voice and called to Beth just when she knew she would be with her dad. It was the best prank yet. But of course, she knew Beth would be planning too. The following afternoon, while Felicity was with her dad just hanging out in the kitchen, they heard the phone ring in the living room. And Beth suddenly called out to her. Felicity, it's your boyfriend Daniel. He called asking if you left behind his jacket here when he came to meet you in the middle of the night after everyone had fallen asleep. Steven turned to look at Beth. What? Boyfriend? Felicity? Since when? But when he turned, his daughter was long gone. The pranks and comebacks continued one after the other in the house. It was one of these days that Felicity had snuck into her dad's room to get her hands on Beth's phone to get some information for her next prank. Oh, Dad's phone is here too. Felicity started going through her dad's phone, but she was surprised by what she found. Is he cheating on Beth? Not knowing what to think, Felicity put the phone away and left the room. She kept silent, but in the following days, she started to notice her dad had been arguing and fighting with Beth a lot. Why is Dad doing this? She's not that bad. And it was one evening, after another fight, Stephen barged out of the room to find Felicity right there. What are you doing here? Nothing, I was just standing. Why? Don't you have anything better to do? Go to your room, you're grounded. But Dad, what did I do? Now you're talking back to me? As long as you live under my roof, you live by my rules. Now go from here. Hearing Stephen shout, Beth hurried out. Why are you treating her like that? She didn't do anything wrong. You don't have to tell me what's right and what's wrong. As Stephen stormed off, Beth and Felicity stood there in shock. What happened to Dad? That witch has spellbound your father. He's changing. He's not himself anymore. Yeah, he never treated me like that before. Wanna call truce until we exorcise him from her possession? Fine, truce. Stephen had been watching the ongoing secret Cold War between Beth and Felicity ever since she moved in. At first he thought they would get over it and get along. But then the prank started to get out of hand. The only way to end this war was to intervene as a common villain. So Stephen started to give Beth a false vibe that he was cheating on her with a colleague of his, Roxanne, who was actually happily married and settled in her life. Stephen and Beth had started quarreling, and it seemed Beth was falling for it, and to confirm it to her, Stephen had saved some pics so Beth could see them. But coincidentally, Felicity had seen them instead. But this only made his plan easier. He then treated Felicity horribly and drove the two to the point where they both at least had something in common. Now finally, there was peace in the house. But now if they're united, what are they going to do? Roxanne, it's for you. Hello? Hello, Miss Roxanne Simmons. I was calling to settle the remaining bill of the abortion procedure you had done last week. The debit card payment had been rejected. Would you like to pay in cash? What? Did you abort the baby? I'm in my 3rd trimester. How can I have an abortion last week?
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Just about a year ago, I had to move out of my old neighborhood. It's not that there was something wrong with the house I was living in, but it was the environment that wasn't so great. When I first moved into that house, I remember the first thing my husband did was put on new locks on all the windows and doors. After a few months of staying there, we even installed guardrails outside the windows. My husband always warned me to check the peephole and never to open the door unless I really knew who was out there. The crime rate was really high in that area, and oftentimes we would hear about burglaries in the nearby stores and shops. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son that I dearly love. Sending them off to school in the morning was even frightening. I would have my husband drop them off every day, and I would bring them back myself. After the first few months that I lived in that house, I was very afraid, and what made it worse was that I didn't know anyone around there. Soon I came to know the neighbors who lived right across the street from that house. They were a couple in their mid-30s, and they seemed like decent people. They had invited my family over for dinner, and we all enjoyed their company. Mr. and Mrs. Collins was always very happy and cheerful. There wasn't an instance that I could remember that I saw a frown on their face. Oftentimes, I would open the door to Mrs. Collins, who would bring over cookies and cake she baked. The couple lived by themselves in that house. After some time, Mrs. Collins started coming over to my house very often. Sometimes she would come when the kids were at school, and sometimes she would wait it out to meet the kids before she went back home. I understood that perhaps the woman felt lonely, being by herself all day, so I was never rude to her, although I did not always appreciate her sudden visits. During this time, I started to notice something that I didn't really like. I would often see Mrs. Collins peeking out her curtains and watching me as I brought my kids back home. I had gotten my husband to build a fence around my front yard. The kids had started complaining about staying in the house all the time, so I thought if they had some space to play in the front yard, they'd like it. Sometimes I would see Mrs. Collins leaning over our fence and talking to my son or my daughter. When I asked my children why she was here and what she was saying to them, they always told me she had just came to say hi and she was being nice. I assumed I was just being suspicious about this kind, lonely woman for no reason. In truth, she was always nice and treated me and my family with lots of love and affection. I spoke to my husband about her, and he also felt I was being a little too harsh on the woman. He told me he thought they were a good family and I could go over there sometime and give company to Mrs. Collins. My son had a habit of playing with my cell phone. One day after I had brought him back home from school, he came into the kitchen and asked me if he could play with it. I was preparing dinner, and just through the corner of my eye, I saw Mrs. Collins getting out on her porch and locking her door. She turned and looked right my way and was crossing the road. I gave the cell phone to my son and told him as long as he didn't call anyone or delete anything, he could use it. I called my daughter and told her to stay upstairs with her brother. I honestly didn't want the kids spending so much time with Mrs. Collins. I don't know what it was, but something about her bothered me. There was nothing I could explicitly say that she did, or something weird she said. It was just the vibe she gave off that I found abnormal. My husband told me I was crazy. Mrs. Collins was always caring and compassionate, and I too couldn't say anything other than that myself. As I had thought, in a few minutes I heard knocking on the door. It was Mrs. Collins. She had just come over to spend the evening before her husband would come back home. She helped me around the kitchen as she spoke. As the conversation progressed, I asked her if she ever thought of having children. That was the first time I saw her frown. She told me that it was her dream to have a child, but it was unfortunate that she was unable to conceive. I regretted bringing up the topic, and I tried to lighten the mood. I packed up some dinner for Mr. and Mrs. Collins and walked her back to her house that night. When I got back home, I called the kids down for dinner. They hurriedly swallowed their food and ran back upstairs. Around 8 at night, I realized the kids had been with my cell phone the whole time. I went upstairs to make sure they were in bed and found both my daughter and my son sleeping in their bedrooms. The cell phone was laying on my son's bed. I picked it up and browsed through it to make sure everything was how I had it. I noticed a few minor changes. The theme and the background was changed, and my son had given me a new ringtone. I decided to get into bed myself and rest until my husband would return home. As I lay in my bed, I fiddled with my phone and found that my son had taken some pictures. I couldn't help but smile at his cute face, and he made the funniest expressions and continuously snapped selfies. It was the last picture in the folder that made my heart start to pound. I couldn't believe it, and I thought my eyes were just playing tricks on me. It was a picture of my son sleeping on his bed, and I would have assumed my daughter had taken the picture, but in the left corner of the picture, it looked like a woman's face had been cut off from the snapshot. I looked closely and noticed a familiar earring. It was the earring of Mrs. Collins. I was terrified, and deep inside, all my suspicions became the reality for me. When my husband got home, I showed him the picture. He couldn't believe it himself. He shrugged it off and said, "So what if it was Mrs. Collins? Maybe she just wanted to spend some time with the kids." I tried to explain to him that I never saw her go upstairs. She sneaked into the house. After a long conversation, I was able to convince my husband that I felt we weren't safe in that house anymore, and although he didn't think it was because of Mrs. Collins, he agreed to look for a new place. We spent a big portion of our savings to move out of that house. Mr. and Mrs. Collins were really upset that we were moving out. They tried to convince us to stay, but I didn't let the words get to my husband. It's been about 2 weeks here, and so far things have been fine in the new house, and there isn't anything that I could say seems to be odd. Suddenly, there was a continuous, loud knock on the door. I opened the door and found my son sweating, jumping in anxiety. He stuttered and choked on his words and kept pointing towards the road. I tried to calm him down and hear out what he said. Mom, they took Kate in their car. They pulled her." I ran out the gate and barely saw a car speed down the road and turn around the curb. I called the police immediately and pulled out my own car. I tried to follow the vehicle, but I lost sight of it. My son told me he hadn't seen who were inside. The windows were shaded. He kicked the ball out of the fence, and Kate had gone to get it back. The car had stopped just a distance away. He saw Kate saying something to the person in the driver's seat before the car opened the door and pulled her away. My husband and I have gone to the authorities, but they haven't been any help. I've been on the hunt since that day. I want my daughter back. I don't know anything other than how the car looked. I wasn't able to note down the license plate number. I know it could have been anybody, but I have a strange feeling that the Collins are involved. It was true that day she sneaked into my old house. She had been with the kids while they were sleeping. The next day, I decided to go to Mrs. Collins' house. I didn't know what I expected to find there, but I had to get rid of the suspicion. When I knocked on the door, I saw Mrs. Collins peer out the curtains. Her face broke out into a smile and she hurried to open the door. She came out and wrapped her arms around me. "I'm so glad you came to visit. You're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you." She told me she was expecting, and she couldn't wait to have the baby in her arms. Mrs. Collins had noticed that I was a bit upset, but I didn't tell her about my daughter. I tried to look through Mrs. Collins' house as best as I could, but it seemed empty. I felt a little ashamed for having doubted Mrs. Collins and coming to her house to spy on her. I let her be, and I never returned to that house again. It's been over a year since my daughter has been missing, but I haven't lost hope. I know I'll find her. At the Collins house, the couple were overjoyed to have their first child. They were making their little one's first food. Her husband told her, "Look how cute." Mr. Collins sat at the kitchen table as he read his newspaper and peeked at his dear one. Mrs. Collins sat down and tried to feed her baby. "Come on now, you know you need to eat every spoon of it. Open your mouth, here comes the airplane." Mr. and Mrs. Collins was especially excited these days. "I have a feeling the baby will talk soon. What do you think will be the first word?" The two playfully betted over if it would be Mama or Dada. Mr. Collins had realized Mrs. Collins had been crooning over and over while she fed the baby. "Mama loves you, Mama's precious one." Sometimes she wasn't even subtle. "Say Mama, come on now, say Mama." The next morning, the couple surrounded the child with numerous toys, and they noticed their child was making noises. Mrs. Collins took the bowl out of her child's mouth, and both the husband and wife went on babbling like chickens. "Mama, Dada, say Mama, who's Daddy's baby?" The child finally spoke out. What do you want from me? Let me go." Mrs. Collins' smile faded. She ran out the room, bursting in tears. Mr. Collins sighed, and with a heavy heart, he put the ball where it was, shut the lights, and locked the nursery door. He found his wife crying on the sofa. "It's okay, honey. Maybe the next one will say mama first." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.
Jake is a brilliant student and was attending the BI Academy in Chicago. But after his father passed away, he and his mother had no choice but to move to the small town of Sheridan as they were going through tough times financially. And it had been about a week since Jake had been going to the local BI high school. As Jake found his way to his locker, he noticed a crowd of students huddled around in the hallway. "Bucky Beaver, so you finally got your braces. You know what will suit you better? A paper bag. Now we don't have to look at whatever you are." Jake was a bit surprised when everyone quietly watched and laughed along. "Hey, leave him alone." "Really? You want me to leave him alone?" "Jake." "Yes, Mr. Anderson? I spoke with your mother yesterday about your AP classes. We might have to change your schedule. Come with me." "Who's that dimwit?" "He's the new kid. His dad passed away and he and his mom moved here. She works at BI Electronics." "Nice." "The academy sent in your transcripts. Your grades are amazing, Jake. I transferred you to the AP classes. Good luck. And if you need any help, you know where to find me." "Thanks, Mr. Anderson." With his new schedule, Jake headed out to find his first class when one of his friends, Kevin, joined him. "Dude, what did you do? Why did you mess with Eddie? No one messes with Eddie. Now he's gonna come for you." "What do you mean, come for me?" "I mean, you better hide. Don't get in his way or it's gonna be tough for you." Jake didn't pay much heed to Eddie and simply went on with his day. After school, Jake worked a part-time job at a small BI Burgers branch. Life was pretty quiet in Sheridan. Not a lot of people lived here, and nothing exciting was usually ever going on. The only thing Jake looked forward to was being with Cynthia. Cynthia worked with him at BI Burgers, and Jake had become good friends with her. She was really nice, and Jake really liked her. "Is the manager here yet?" "Don't worry, I clocked you in already. Thanks." Around 9 p.m., Jake was off duty and headed home exhausted. And then he was up early at 7 to be off to school again. It was one day after school, Kevin caught up with him. "Dude, there's gonna be a party at one of my friend's house. You have to tag along." "When is it?" "At 7. "But I have work." "Come on, dude, you gotta manage something. You don't want to miss out on this." "Alright, let me see." Jake called up Cynthia. "Cynthia? Jake? You think you'll be able to manage without me? Again? It's one thing you're always late, and today you want to skip? Alright, I'm coming. No, you do what you want, I'll manage. Cynthia knew about Jake's circumstance, about his father and how hard his mother worked, so whenever she could, she tried to be there for him. And that evening, Jake and Kevin went to his friend's party. Hey guys, meet my friend Jake. He's from Chicago. Oh, cool dude, how's the city? Jake met some new people and was having a good time. Until someone familiar and loud walked in through the door. Look who's here, the dimwit. Eddie walked up to Jake and stared at him as a crowd gathered around them. Who invited you here? I tagged along with a friend. Tagged along? Shouldn't you be at work? Or did your mom find you a new dad? You're crossing the line. Wait, are you even sure your dad really passed away? Or is it just that your mom doesn't want to tell you who your dad is? Better yet, maybe she doesn't know herself. You think treating people like this makes you look tough? It doesn't make you tough, it just makes you look annoying. What did you just say? Ed, not in my house. Jake, maybe you should leave. Jake didn't want trouble and decided to bail. But just as he and Kevin were leaving, he heard Eddie shouting, "Come on, Alex, maybe you shouldn't invite these cougar cubs to your parties. You should invite the cougar herself." Go, you wuss. Send your mommy here. We'll take care of her. We'll make sure you get a new daddy. Tomorrow I'll get him at school. No man, not at school. I heard Mr. Anderson was friends with his dad. Jake sighed as he headed his way back to work, feeling low and humiliated. Sorry dude, I shouldn't have brought you here. I didn't know this would happen. It's alright, it wasn't your fault. By the time Jake reached work, he actually ended up being early. You were supposed to be at a party. Yeah, the party ended early. Why do you look like that? Is everything alright? It's nothing. Sensing Jake a little upset, Cynthia asked, "Hey Jake, solve a riddle. What do men have in their pants that women don't?" Cynthia? Pockets! What? Pockets? Why? What did you think? After that night, Jake decided to just keep his distance from Eddie. He minded his business at school, and after school, just went to work. And this was how the days were going by. But then, one afternoon, while at work, a group of guys showed up at the restaurant creating a havoc. And it turned out to be Eddie and his friends. Jake kept his composure and acted as he would with any customer. Your order, sir. Let's see. We'll have 3 burgers, a spicy chicken bucket, a large french fries, and make it quick. Jake calmly took Eddie's order and got on with it, as Eddie and his guys pushed the tables around and took a seat. Here's your order. Why is the food so late? It's practically cold. If you want to know what disappointment is, go ask Jake's parents. Oh wait, he doesn't have parents. Eddie tore a bite out of the burger before he spit it out. Jake was repulsed as it fell on his shoe. What is this? Dude, you might be used to eating crap, but real people eat real food. Leave him. Where is he gonna get the money to buy real food? Alright, your mom didn't find you a new dad, did she? Maybe we should go meet her tonight. Tip her a little extra for you. As Eddie went on and on, Jake stood there silently bearing through it. But that was when Cynthia spoke up. If you don't like our service or our food, then just leave. Sheesh, man. Is this how you treat your customers? Where's the manager? Cynthia was shocked as Eddie and the guys made a mess in the restaurant and savagely laughed on before they left. Where do these people come from? Jake, did you know him? Yeah, he's from my school. Savages. Jake quietly went back to work. He couldn't face Cynthia after what just happened. He felt so embarrassed and humiliated. The next few days went by rather slowly, and nothing like that happened again. But then, one afternoon, Jake got an order, and seeing the address, he knew exactly who it was from. What is it? Remember those guys who created a scene here the other day? This is his order. What does he have against you? Well, he was giving a hard time to this kid at school and I told him to leave him alone. And ever since, he's been after me. You know what? I'll deliver it. No, I'll go. Jake took the order and went off to Eddie's house. When he got there, Eddie opened the door before he even knocked. Here comes the cougar cub. So how's your mom? Does she have an OnlyFans? I'll make her some profit. Here's your order. Now pay up. Eddie went on and on as he took out his wallet. Jake silently took the payment and left, but Eddie just wouldn't stop. Where are you going? Take your tip. You should thank me. Your mom's boyfriends don't even pay her this much. From then on, Eddie began ordering every day, just for a chance to get at Jake. Every time he would say awful things about Jake's mom and his late father, and Jake would silently endure it. And soon, Eddie started ordering twice, in the afternoons and at the last moment before closing. It's 9:05. Where were you? Why were you late? That's $15.99. Give that to me. Eddie continued to order from BI Burgers, and things had been going on like this for 2 weeks. But it was one night, he opened the door to see Cynthia had brought his order. Where is he? Who? That cougar cub. He has a name, and his mother is a very respectful woman. Okay, just give me the order and get lost. Cynthia was shocked by how Eddie snatched the burgers from her and threw his money at her before he slammed the door. What is this? This is not it. Cynthia returned to the restaurant feeling relieved to have gotten that over with. But in just a while, she saw Eddie storm through the doors. What is it? Cynthia asked, baffled. Eddie looked at her furiously as he flung his burgers behind the counter. What did you bring me? This isn't what I've been ordering. It was the exact same order. Where is he? He didn't come to work. His mother is unwell. At least he used to properly make and serve the order. Cynthia snickered. Now you're complimenting him? Make the damn burgers properly and bring them to me. You got that? Eddie sat down, impatiently jittering as he waited. Cynthia made his order and brought it out. She watched in shock as Eddie stuffed them in his mouth, taking a bite out of it, only to spit it out. "This isn't it. Go make it again." So Cynthia did. But Eddie kept on trying each burger like a maniac. What is wrong with him? Eddie stuffed the burgers until he started belching and burping, until he vomited, but he didn't stop. No, no! What don't you get, you little? This isn't the one. Bring another one, Eddie shouted. After some time, Eddie seemed like he was completely out of his mind. In that disgusting condition, with food on his mouth, vomit on his clothes, he ran out of the store. Cynthia was absolutely bewildered. Should I call the cops? Better I close before he comes back. A young man was found lifeless on the streets last night in a horrible condition. Authorities confirmed it was high school senior Edward White. Autopsy reports have discovered the cause of death being a substance found in his bloodstream, a substance more addictive than any other substance, and has shockingly been found in most household items. Limited use of this substance does not cause dependency, however. If consumed on a regular basis, the individual becomes highly dependent on it, and this seems to be the tragic case of Edward White. Jake was a very bright student, especially in chemistry. And he was a simple guy who avoided trouble. But Eddie, he had crossed all the limits, taking advantage of Jake's helpless situation. Time and time again, Eddie insulted him in front of his friends, in front of Cynthia, and never spared a moment to insult him. Cougar cub! Ask your mom if she's looking for a new customer. You know why your mom was late last night? 'Cause she was with me. After his father's death, Jake's mother was everything for him. And Jake couldn't take it anymore, bearing the insults again and again. Finally, Jake lost his temper, and he did what he had to do. Now it's just a matter of time. As Eddie continued ordering, Jake continued putting the substance and monitoring the change in Eddie. And over time, Eddie became dependent on it. Why were you late? Give that to me. If only Eddie had stopped sooner.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.
Don't you feel shame calling yourself an officer, betraying your own people? James, why are you putting the blame on me? You think I wanted to bring you here? The whole department is behind this. I'm not the black sheep. You are the black sheep. You all will be exposed. Really? And who will expose us once you're rotting in your grave? You can take my life, but this won't be the end. Oh, shut up, officer. Your time is up. Officer James Harding was found by the seaport in a horrible condition. No one knew who had taken his life, and from what it seemed, no one would ever know. Vivian stood by his coffin, saying her last goodbyes as her heart wrenched. She and James had been married for almost 10 years. He was her everything, but this departure was much more heavy on their 8-year-old son, Stephen, who suffered from autism. Stephen was very close to James. He was the one person he would open up to and be comfortable around, even more than he was with Vivian. But now, she didn't know how she would handle it all. Vivian passed a glance at James's partner, join her, Officer Norman Woodrow. If you ever need anything, give me a call. Everyone shared their condolences. But of course, with time, people simply forget and move on. As for Vivian, she fell into difficult times, not just emotionally, but financially. Stephen was all alone, and despite needing the most care and support now, Vivian was unable to be there for him, having to work 2 jobs. After a long day, around 10 p.m., Vivian was returning home. The streets were near empty. All the stores and shops were closed. But Vivian spotted a group of thugs hanging around, jesting as they noticed her. Isn't that Harding's wife? She's beautiful. The men all crossed over and began following her. Where are you going, gorgeous? There ain't no one waiting for you at home. Come spend the night with us. Leave me alone. Come on now. Harding is dead. You need a man to keep you some company. Get away from me or I'll shout. Yeah? And who's gonna come to your rescue now? This is our city. Sorry I'm late. It's okay, I really have to go. I'll see you tomorrow. It was past 11 when Vivian returned home. As the babysitter ran off, she went inside to check on Stephen. He was probably asleep. But as she neared his room, she heard his soft voice. Dad, I knew you didn't leave me. I missed you so much. Vivian curiously opened the door to find Stephen sitting on the edge of his bed in the dark. Stephen, who are you talking to? No one, Mom. Isn't it your bedtime? But Dad told me he would read me a story. How about I read you a story tonight? As Stephen finally dozed off, Vivian couldn't help the tears, pondering on how she was going to fill that empty space in Stephen's life. She felt so helpless and weak without James. People now treated her differently, tried to take advantage of her. Would she be able to get through these difficult times? James, are you really watching over us? Three men found lifeless in an alleyway on Junction Street. Their necks snapped. Authorities are predicting the incident was an accident, but have found no supporting evidence. Accidents happen once, not thrice. Find out who did this. I'll kill that. The next day, hearing the news of three of his men found dead, Raynor was furious. But he himself couldn't understand how this could happen. If it wasn't an accident, who could have done it? No one dared put their hands on his men. Late in the evening, Raynor sat out on the stairs behind the warehouse to take a smoke when he suddenly noticed a shadow in the darkness. Who's there? There was no answer. Raynor got up, barely making out a dark figure. Who the hell are you?
You didn't recognize me?
Harding? No, it can't be.
What did you say to me? Your time is up.
No. Mr. White, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's been so difficult managing 2 jobs after my husband. Save it, Harding. That's none of my business. You shouldn't have bothered coming. You're fired. What? Please, Mr. White, it won't happen again. Time is money, Harding, and you're wasting my time. Take your things and leave. It had only been about a week since Vivian had gotten this job, and now she was fired. People were heartless. This world was heartless. As she walked out of the shop, she stared at her watch. It was 7 p.m. At least she could be home early. But tomorrow... Vivian sat at the table that night, watching Stephen eat all his food. He had been surprisingly well behaved. You're eating your veggies like a good boy today, Stephen. Dad told me to eat if I want to be big and strong. See? Stephen took out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket and showed Vivian. Where did you get this? Dad left it by my bed. He leaves one for me every morning, and sometimes he even leaves behind gifts. Stephen finished up his food and ran off to his room. Vivian sighed, holding the paper. She knew Stephen didn't understand the truth, but if it made him happy, he didn't need to know the truth. Stephen walked into his dark room, slowly looking around. Dad, are you there? That's when he froze, seeing a toy car left on his windowsill. Oh boy, you're the best dad. You got me another one. We need those packages supplied immediately, Woodrow. Raynor's dead. His men are creating trouble. I don't care. Manage the situation. There has to be some clue. Officer Burton was shocked when he got news of the accidents. 4 men down, and the police were able to do nothing. Burton poured out his drink when he suddenly heard a noise from his balcony. Barely catching a glimpse of something pass by the door, Burton put down the phone. "Hold on, I'll be right back." Stepping out onto his balcony, Burton couldn't see anyone or anything around. I need to get some rest. But just as he turned to head inside, he froze to someone behind him. "Who are you? How did you get in?
Did you really think I would let you go?
James?"
You will never get away.
"But you're dead. How can it be? It was you, Raynor, and his men."
You all will pay.
Please, James, forgive me. Don't do this.
It's too late for forgiveness.
Please, James, forgive me. Don't do this.
Hearing the loud thud over the phone, Woodrow's heart raced. He couldn't believe what he had heard. James? How could that be? He immediately set out, informing the police department to report at Burton's apartment. But by the time they arrived, nothing could be done. Staring at Burton's body in a horrible condition, fallen from 4 stories, Woodrow could no longer keep his calm. This all began since James's death. First, Raynor's men, then Raynor himself. Burton, there was no explanation to how it happened. And next, it would be him. Woodrow lay in bed that night, unable to sleep, unable to think straight. He got up and went to his study, where he sat down beside the window to catch a breath of air. Burton's last words rung in his ears. Please, James, forgive me. Don't do this." No, it can't be. He's dead.
Did you really think death was the end?
Woodrow froze, hearing that voice, feeling that presence behind him. James, listen to me. Try to understand. I was under pressure. I'm not your enemy. It's them. It's the Secret Service. It was Burton.
You're a liar. You supported them.
If I didn't comply, they would have taken my life.
You don't deserve to live.
As James came nearer to him, Woodrow's heart trembled in fear. He couldn't take it anymore. Woodrow immediately opened his drawer, took out his gun, and held it at his head.
You think ending your life will set you free? Enjoy your time in hell, Woodrow.
With that, Woodrow pulled the trigger and fell to the ground. His blood splattered across the now silent room. As Vivian walked out of the darkness. Some months ago, Officer James Harding had discovered an underground drug syndicate operating in the city, bringing in substance via the city's seaport. and through his investigation, he found out these substances were being distributed and maintained by none other than the Secret Service to fund its own operations, and the police department were involved. On one hand, the law enforcement banned the use of substance, and on the other, they were the ones supplying it. And James was caught in the middle, not knowing what to do. In all this, Vivian noticed how frustrated James would be, spending all his time working, coming home late at night. James, what's going on? Is everything all right? They're all corrupted. From politicians to police, the Secret Service, they're all involved in this. I have to bring this to a stop. It was one night. James took out his frustration and told Vivian everything. But how will you fight against all of them on your own? Even if I can't fight them, at least I can expose them to the people. I've been collecting evidence against them, and once I've got it, I'll hand it over to a reporter. But James, these are dangerous people. There is a life risk, but I can't stay silent and let this go, Vivian. Are you with me? Yes. Over the months, James trained Vivian how to handle things in case she ever fell into danger, from combat to wielding arms and keeping a low profile. Use the element of surprise. The easiest way to immobilize your enemy, if you're in a close proximity, snap their neck. Always keep a knife, and don't try to reach your gun without creating distance from your attacker. Space equals time to draw your arms. If something happens to me, they'll have an eye on you because they'll suspect you have information, so keep a low profile. Get a simple job and pretend you know nothing. And as for Stephen, don't let him know I'm gone. He won't be able to bear it. Keep an illusion that I'm still there for him. Leave notes, keep toys for him by the windowsill. Don't tell him the truth, not until he's ready. Take a look at this pen. I always have this on me. It's a special device. It has a radio transmitter. If you can't reach me, or I go missing, you can trace the signal from here. James, stay strong. I will. But in all this, James's partner Woodrow found out about him and gave him up to the authorities, with orders from the Secret Service. Woodrow and Burton then tricked James and brought him to Rayner's warehouse, where they kidnapped, tortured, and eventually took his life. But what they didn't know was that they weren't the only ones there. When James didn't communicate with Vivian, she followed the signal from his pen and reached the port. But she was too late. But that dark night, Vivian swore she would avenge his death. And one by one, she kept her vow.
You didn't recognize me?
Harding? No, it can't be. What did you say to me?
Your time is up.
No, no.
You all will pay.
Please, please, James, forgive me. Don't do this.
It's too late for forgiveness.
Staring at Woodrow's body, Vivian wiped the blood off her face. I didn't spare any one of them, James. I took your revenge. It was around midnight when Vivian returned home. She peered into Stephen's room. He had found the note and the toy airplane she had left for him. Mom, look what Dad got me. Wow, such a nice toy. Mom, is Dad gone? No, sweetheart. Dad will always be with you. He's always watching over you.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Cecilia recently learned that she was adopted. Before the death by car accident, Cecilia's mother and father informed her of the news. Cecilia grew up with loving, caring parents who never let her feel like she wasn't really their own child. Cecilia's real mother and her twin sister lived together, and they had recently moved to Chicago, Illinois. Cecilia was quite alarmed and upset to know her real mother had gave her up for adoption when she kept her twin sister. She was disappointed and angry at her mother for doing what she did. Cecilia had considered visiting her real family, but what would she say when she got there? Her mother had already gave her up once when she was just a baby. Could she just show up after so many years? But after giving the matter some thought, Cecilia decided to meet with her sister. After all, her sister had nothing to do with it. It was her mother's fault. When Cecilia got there, she recognized her sister immediately. They looked quite alike. However, Cecilia realized that she and her sister were fraternal twins and not identical twins. Cecilia knew she couldn't just blatantly show up and say she was her twin sister. She planned to befriend her sister before she would let her know who she really was. But Cecilia wanted to avoid meeting her mother. On the next opportunity, when Cecilia's mother went out for work and her sister was home alone, she went over to the apartment and knocked on their door. Soon, her sister opened the door. She furrowed her brows and looked at Cecilia. "Why are you knocking on the door? There's a doorbell right there." Cecilia smiled. "Hi, I'm Cecilia. I live nearby. I saw that you're new here, and I was wondering whether you'd like to be friends." Her sister looked glad. She said, "Hello, I'm Madison. And sure, it's very kind of you to come by. I actually moved here with my mother 2 days ago. I don't really know anybody and have any friends here." Cecilia chuckled and said, "Don't have any friends? What are you talking about? You just made one right now." Madison politely asked, "Oh, right. Would you like to come in? My mother isn't home yet, but she'll be home soon." "Sure, thank you." Cecilia walked inside. She followed Madison down the hallway as she looked at pictures of Madison and her mother, and other beautiful paintings that hung on the wall. Madison took her to the living room where the two sat down on the couch. "So tell me about yourself. What do you like?" "Well, I don't go out much, but I like painting. There is quite a lot of paintings in the hallway, if you noticed. I painted them myself. What? You must be joking. I thought those were painted by a professional. I paint myself. When I saw those portraits, I knew they were a unique piece. Are you serious? Wow, so we have something in common then. Cecilia and Madison began conversing. They gossiped about the latest trend, and the two were surprised to learn that they had a lot of similarities, apart from the fact that they looked a lot alike. I moved here from California. I used to go to this ice cream shop quite often. I'll really miss having their special ice cream every week. I'm sure you'll find an even better ice cream shop here. I'm a little picky myself when it comes to food. I only have chocolate mint. Before Cecilia could finish her sentence, Madison interrupted. Mint chip. You only like having chocolate mint chip ice cream. We have to go together then. Cecilia was taken aback. How did you know? I guess we really do have a lot in common. You could be my sister. It had been nearly 2 hours the two had been talking. Cecilia took the chance to learn more about her real family. I grew up with a single mother. My father passed away before I was born, so I never got to see him, but I've heard from my mother that he was an army officer. I'm so sorry. Don't be, it's all right. Cecilia thought perhaps it was time to reveal who she really was. There is actually a reason why I came to meet you. What's that? There's a reason we have so many similarities. It's not only that we could be sisters, but we are sisters. Suddenly, Madison looked a little disturbed. What are you talking about? I'm my mother's only child. It's the truth, Madison. You're my twin sister. Your mother is my mother. All right, you're just creeping me out now. I think you should leave. Cecilia and Madison got into an argument over the matter, and before Cecilia could explain herself, Madison became enraged and got up from her chair. Get out of my house, now, and never show your face to me ever again. Cecilia realized it was her time to leave. And without another word, she got up and left. Madison closed the door and checked the lock twice. She couldn't wait for her mother to come back home from work. She planned to tell her mother all that had happened. What kind of neighborhood did her mother bring her to? People around here were crazy. Maybe that's why they were lonely, roaming around trying to make family members out of strangers. Madison was freaked out. She peered through the peephole to check if Cecilia had left. When she saw no one on the other side, she was relieved. Madison went to her room and finished up her homework before her mother would arrive. Around 7, the doorbell rang. Madison ran to the door and was about to open it, when she stopped in her tracks. What if it was that crazy girl again? But Madison was relieved when she saw it was her mother. She opened the door and let her in. Madison was about to start blabbering out everything to her mother when she noticed her mother looked quite upset. Her eyes were red and teary. She looked like she had cried a lot. When Madison saw her mother's terrible, devastated state, she decided not to tell her about the creep that visited her, at least not yet. Madison watched as her mother silently went into the kitchen and started to prepare dinner. She was awfully quiet, and Madison couldn't understand what was bothering her. Had something happened at work? Madison and her mother sat down at the dining table, but Madison realized her mother wasn't eating. The food was going cold, and her mother still hadn't eaten a morsel. Madison cleared her throat and tried to grab her mother's attention. Mother, is something wrong? Madison's mother looked up from her plate. As she spoke, tears rolled down her cheek. Madison, dear, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've kept hidden from you all these years. What is it, Mother? I met your father back in California when I went to college. I was nearly 18, just about your age. But I wasn't really into meeting other men and dating. Your father was the first man that I ever got involved with. And we soon got married. You know your father had joined the army. It hadn't even been a year that we had gotten married that your father was called to provide his services overseas. While your father had been away, I discovered I was pregnant. And not just with you, I was pregnant with twins. Your father never returned from that trip. I was still very young. I didn't know how I would raise both of you. I went through a lot of hardship just raising you alone. At that time, I had a huge student loan from college I still needed to pay off. My parents weren't in a great financial state that they would be able to support me and my 2 daughters. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I considered quitting college to take care of both of you. I wanted to give both of you a good life. But if I didn't finish my studies and worked an odd job overtime only to get the minimum salary, what kind of life would I have been able to give you? And what kind of mother would I have been with no time to even see my children? When you and your sister were born, I named you two Madison and Cecilia. I came to the decision to give one of you up for adoption. This way I would at least be able to give both of my daughters a good life. I would be able to manage raising one child, while the other could be raised in a good family. I soon found a couple who wanted to adopt my Cecilia. They were lovely people and I trusted them with my child. But when they adopted her, they made an agreement that the adoption should be kept confidential from the child. Cecilia wasn't to know who her real parents were, and I wasn't allowed to contact her or meet her. It's been agonizing long years. I tried to raise you with my best and finish my studies at the same time. But since I've paid off my loan, and now I'm in a better financial position, I wanted to meet your sister once again, as you two are turning 18 soon. Your sister's foster family lives here in Illinois. Madison's mother started to break down again. She cried profusely. The only thing on Madison's mind was how she treated her sister, her real twin sister. But before Madison could say anything, her mother continued. I called up your sister's foster family this morning to know how she was doing. They told me that Cecilia passed away in a car accident 2 days ago. We were shifting to this house at the time, so they couldn't reach me when it all happened. Your sister is no more. Madison watched her mother weep continuously. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. If Cecilia passed away 2 days back, who had she spent the whole afternoon with? Who came to her apartment? Cecilia, dear child, soon you'll be turning 18, and your father and I think it's time you should know. What is it, Mother? Cecilia, we adopted you. What? What are you saying? This can't be. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. I cannot let you live. After many years of desperately wanting and wishing for a child of their own, Laura and Robert finally had their son, Liam. Having been through so many complications, Laura couldn't be happier. And the first year went by in nothing but joy. And come time Liam was almost 2, Robert decided to move the family to Salem for his business. The couple didn't know many people in Salem, but once they found their new beautiful home, everything else fell right into place. We need to hire another nanny for Liam, Rob. Don't worry, I'll put up an advertisement, we'll find someone soon. Within a few days, Robert and Laura did receive many calls and visits, but Laura wasn't too fond of anyone. Laura, everyone is going to have a flaw or two. You're not going to find the perfect nanny. Rob, I'm not going to compromise when it comes to Liam. All right then, I guess you'll have to wait. It had been almost a month since the couple first put up the advertisement, but had yet to hire anyone. But it was one of these evenings. They received a sudden visitor. Laura opened the door to find a young woman soaking in the rain as she huddled with her bag under her arms. Is this the Wilson's house? Yes. How can I help you? I'm Esther Hoffman. I was here for the job as a nanny. Come in. Laura invited the young woman inside and allowed her to dry up before she and Robert sat down to talk. Do you have any experience as a nanny? No, I don't. Have you worked with children before? No, but I promise you I'm a quick learner. Rob, can I talk with you? We cannot and we will not hire her. Laura, if you be this picky, you will never find anyone. As Laura and Robert spoke, Liam suddenly woke up from his nap and began crying. But before Laura could answer him, the crying suddenly stopped. The parents rushed to the living room to find Esther and Liam playing together. Laura, as a mother, you're going to be possessive, but it seems like Liam has chosen his own nanny. Still a bit reluctant, when Laura saw the way Esther played with Liam, she finally agreed. All right, you have the job. Esther moved in the following day and began staying in the guest bedroom downstairs, while Laura and Robert's bedroom and Liam's nursery was upstairs. Laura had assumed she would have to teach Esther everything, but she turned out to be a great helping hand. Rob, can you help me take the old cupboard downstairs? Just 1 minute. It's all right, Miss Wilson, I can help you out. Esther was a rather petite young woman, but she was surprisingly very strong. And when it came to taking care of Liam, she was always there whenever Liam gave the slightest cry. She was even there first thing in the morning when he woke up. You're up already? Yes, Miss Wilson, I heard him crying. I didn't hear him. It was almost as if Laura didn't need to be there. What is that smell? Esther was also really great in the kitchen. Rob, you didn't tell me you would be home early. Give me an hour, I'll prepare dinner. It's all right, Miss Wilson, I got everything prepared. Wow, this tastes delicious. I didn't expect Esther to cook this well. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Although Esther was seemingly the perfect nanny, there was something Laura found odd about her. Esther always carried a strange leather pouch with her wherever she went. Oftentimes, Laura would watch her from the baby monitor and see Esther take out a small book from which she read something. What is she reading like that? Laura could never make out what she was saying, but it was sort of a hymn, gibberish she couldn't understand. At first, Laura didn't think much of it, but then she would notice Esther taking out small crackers from her pouch and eating them as she read and kissed the book. Now and then, she would take out something of a metal pendant and put it to her forehead. Robert, don't you find Esther a bit strange? Strange? How? She's been wonderful. No. Did you ever notice she rarely sleeps? I see her going to the rooftop every night. She doesn't eat either. It's like all she ever eats are those crackers she keeps in her pouch. What? Yes, she always carries this leather pouch and she reads this book and eats crackers. I guess we all have our hobbies. Robert always had his excuses to make unusual things seem logical. But for some reason, Laura just couldn't find the matter normal. It was one of these nights. Laura lay in bed, unable to sleep, thinking about Liam. So she went to check on him. That smell again? It's been lingering around here for days. When Laura walked into the nursery, however, she found the crib empty. Where's Liam? Laura immediately went downstairs to Esther's room to find the light dimly turned on. As she neared, she started to hear that low humming noise, that strange gibberish. Peeking inside, Laura froze seeing Esther rocking Liam to sleep as she chanted something over him and that strange little book in her hand. She immediately went inside. What are you doing? Startled, Esther put the book into her pouch. Liam wasn't falling asleep, so I brought him here. I was just singing him a lullaby. Don't bring Liam here again. Always put him to sleep in his room. Yes, Miss Wilson. The next morning, Laura and Robert had some plans going out, so Esther would be home alone with Liam. But as Laura prepared everything for the few hours she would be away, she noticed something off about the bottle of breast milk she had left. It's spoiled? I just now pumped this. Laura took the incident as a matter of coincidence. But in the next few days, every time, all her milk started to get spoiled. Why is this happening? Things came to the point where she had to buy formula for Liam. Esther, you can take the night off. I'll be here with Liam. Sweetheart, come on. Mommy will read you a bedtime story. No, I want Esther to tell me a story.
Oh, I didn't finish the story I was telling him last night. He got really excited but fell asleep. It's all right. I said you can go. For hours that night, Liam cried to be with Esther. Laura couldn't soothe him in any way. She had been noticing this change in Liam for some time now. It almost felt as if Esther was stealing her child away from her. Liam never wanted to be with her. He always cried and fussed to be with Esther instead. It's like Liam can't stand being with me anymore. What are you saying, Laura? You're his mother. You don't understand. He was crying for hours last night. And when he's with Esther, he's quiet. Rob, I'm telling you, there's something strange about this girl. You're just being possessive and sentimental again. Your child is your child, Laura. And in all this, it was another night when Laura went to check up on Liam. She didn't find him in his room again. Furious, Laura stormed downstairs. But this time, Esther's room was empty too. Walking in, she looked around when she got that smell. Where does that come from?
As Laura neared Esther's bathroom, the smell suddenly got stronger.
Laura was disgusted seeing the condition inside. It was wet and slippery. The stench was horrendous. As if Esther never cleaned in here. Laura quickly closed the door and began going through her drawers, checking her bed, until she found a bag to the corner of the room. Opening it up, she found another box. What was inside of it? Shocked, Laura. What is this? There were balls of hair, rusted nails, a doll, small pieces of leather, with strange writings etched on it. Some language Laura couldn't even understand. But beneath everything, Laura found a picture. A family picture. Who are these people? Is this her family? The faces of all the people had been pierced out of the picture. Absolutely frightened at this point, Laura put everything back the way it was and went to search for her. Nearing the staircase, Laura felt a cool breeze, realizing the rooftop had been open again. Were they up there? She immediately ran up behind Esther to the corner of the rooftop. She had laid Liam down on a piece of leather and was chanting that same gibberish on him again. Esther, what are you doing here? Miss Wilson, he wasn't falling asleep and you said not to bring Liam in my room, so I thought I'd bring him here in the fresh air. Staring into her eyes, Laura just couldn't hold her rage. But she tried to stay calm and took Liam in her arms. Lock up before you leave. That night, Laura took Liam to sleep with her. She was sure Esther was up to something, but she didn't know what, and speaking to Robert wouldn't be of any use. For some reason, he always took her side. What Laura needed was cold, hard evidence on this girl. So the next day, she decided to go to the local library and see if she could get some information on the picture she had seen in Esther's room. Who was that family? Hours through searching the newspaper archive, Laura was intrigued reading a headline about the Anderson family. and a picture of the family that seemed all too familiar. It's the same family. Police discover a gruesome situation at the residence of a family of 3. Woman takes the life of her husband and child before taking her own life. Horrified by the description of the incident, Laura began looking more into it. She took out all the articles related to the family. Until she stopped at another family picture of them. But this one had another member to the far corner. Laura noticed someone standing behind them. Esther? She said she didn't work anywhere before, but it was a lie. Why would she have to lie? She has been hiding something. What does she want? Before things came out of hand, Laura decided to go to a priest in town and explain the situation in her house. Priest looked at her with a worried face. She's there for a purpose. She's harmed this family through her witchcraft, and she's been doing the same on your family. What should I do? Fire her? No. If you do that, she might seek revenge. And even if she finds out that you know about her, she will try to harm you and your family. So before she knows, you have to get rid of her. Laura, where were you? I just got caught up with an old friend. Have you had dinner? Yeah, don't worry about it. Esther took care of everything. That night, as Laura lay in bed, she kept wondering about everything the priest told her. Everything she had seen with her own eyes. She couldn't let this go on. But how? How would she get rid of her without her knowing? What was that noise? Laura, did you hear that? Yes, I'll go check up on Liam. No, it was from outside. It was near midnight when Robert rushed out onto his front lawn, horrified by what he found. Laura! Esther was no more. That dawn, police arrived at the house and took away the body of Esther. Robert fortunately handled everything, and police came to the conclusion it had been an accident. She had fallen from the rooftop. But no one would ever know the truth. I almost lost you, but everything's going to be all right now, baby.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Vanessa checked the time on her phone as she walked towards her house. She lived in Pacific Heights in San Francisco, California. Vanessa had recently moved to this neighborhood about a year back when her mother bought an expensive house here. The new home was great, but what wasn't so great was the fact that Vanessa's mother's boyfriend, Dylan, moved in with them. Her mother was expecting her from school 10 minutes ago. Vanessa was a little late. She remembered the last time she came home late. "Vanessa, where were you?" "I decided to walk home, Mom." "Walk? You? You think I don't know you? You weren't with your father, were you?" "No, Mom." "Selena, why are you so strict? What is the problem if Vanessa meets her father?" "I told you I didn't meet Dad." "No, she will not keep any relation with that man." "Why not, Selena? You're overreacting." "Stay out of our business, Dylan. Nobody told you to interfere." Vanessa pushed aside her mother and went into her room. "It's like I don't even have a life anymore. How many struggles am I going to deal with? Handle everything at work, clean up everything at home, bring up a teenage daughter? Dylan, sometimes I feel like ripping my hair out." "Selena, you need to relax. Everything will work out in the end. I'm with you." "I've got a great idea. How about we all go camping this weekend? It will help me bond with Vanessa, and you'll get a break from work." Vanessa could hear Dylan pampering her mother. She was sick of it. She opened her door and yelled out, "I'm not going. Don't even try to ask me." Vanessa shrugged as she kicked the pebbles on the sidewalk. As she got closer to her house, she noticed police gathered around her porch and on her lawn. When Vanessa got there, she was shocked to find out the neighbors had called the police. They had found her mother and Dylan in a horrible condition, lifeless inside the house. One of the officers approached Vanessa. "You must be Vanessa Taylor, the daughter of Selena Taylor. Could you share with us anything that could help us figure out who has done this?" I don't know." "Vanessa, when was the last time you saw your mother and her partner?" I saw them last night. I assume they were in their bedroom when I left for school this morning." After the police looked into the matter, it was discovered that Vanessa hadn't attended school this morning. They also found out that Selena and Dylan had gotten married recently, but what they couldn't understand was why the couple felt it necessary to hide the marriage. The police suspected Vanessa was involved in the crime, and she was taken into custody. Vanessa was nervous and worried when the police kept asking her numerous questions. She was shocked to find out her mother had married Dylan. She remembered the last vacation she went to with her mother and Dylan. "Vanessa, I wanted to show you something, but promise me you won't tell your mother." "I don't care." "Come on, Vanessa, just check it out. Tell me if you like it." Dylan pulled out a small box. He showed Vanessa a diamond ring. "You think your mother will like it? I was thinking of proposing to her." "Leave me alone. Why are you even showing this to me? My opinion doesn't matter around here anyways." After a few hours of interrogation that led to no answers, Vanessa confessed she had ditched school and was at a friend's house. When the information was verified, the police soon let Vanessa off the hook. Vanessa inquired if she could stay with her father. As she wasn't allowed to stay at her mother's house, it was sealed off for investigation. After her mother and father got divorced, Vanessa's mother had won full custody of her daughter and filed strict restrictions that prohibited her husband from meeting Vanessa. But now that her mother was no more and Vanessa had no other family members, Vanessa was allowed to stay under the care of her father. "Vanessa, are you okay? How did this all happen?" "I don't know, Dad. I'm just happy they let me stay with you." "Don't worry, kiddo. Keep your mind off of all of this. It's not good for you to stress about these things." Ever since her parents' divorce, Vanessa missed her father. They had a great bond, and Vanessa was more open with her father than she was with her mother. Especially after Dylan moved in, Vanessa didn't know how to approach her mother anymore. About anything, she always felt like Dylan was in the way. a stranger lurking through their private matters. Vanessa mourned her mother's demise, but at the same time, she felt a little relieved to be with her father again. The next day, however, police arrived at Vanessa's father's home. Vanessa opened the door. "Miss Vanessa Taylor, where is your father?" "Vanessa, who's at the door?" The police took Vanessa's father into custody for being the prime suspect behind this crime. After the police searched Selena Taylor's property, they discovered a stained knife. They immediately sent it to the lab. After a forensic analysis, it was confirmed that both the DNA of Selena and Dylan were found on the knife. But the most important piece of information the police got their hands on were the fingerprints of the culprit. The fingerprints of the ex-husband of Selena Taylor, Alex Taylor. Vanessa was thundered. She yelled out as the police took her father away. "My father didn't do anything. You can't take him away like this. It wasn't him." Vanessa had finally returned home after a long time, and now her father was being taken away from her. She knew her father hadn't done anything. He was innocent. Vanessa knew about the knife. Whoever had taken the life of her mother and Dylan had found it in her room. It was 2 months ago when Alex had secretly visited his daughter at Selena's house. It was Vanessa's 17th birthday, and he wanted to wish her. He brought a small cake to celebrate the occasion with his daughter. "Happy birthday, Vanessa. My little girl has grown up so much. You'll be off to college next year. We won't get a chance to meet after that. I'm moving out of here as soon as I'm 18. I hate staying with Dylan." "Maybe you should get to know him. You guys have been living together for some time now." "No, Dad. I honestly hate him. I wish you and Mom never got divorced in the first place." "Dear, what can I say? I tried to make it work with your mother, but your mother was never happy with our relationship. If she wants to be with this man instead, I don't have a problem with her moving on. It's her choice." "This isn't fair, Dad." "Vanessa, don't worry about these things. Come on, let's cut the cake." Vanessa tried to explain why her father's fingerprints were on the knife, but the police didn't believe her. They thought Vanessa was just making things up to save her father. Alex Taylor immediately called his lawyer, but unfortunately, he couldn't provide an alibi for where he was at the time the crime took place. Alex Taylor was arrested and charged guilty of the crime. Vanessa was devastated. Her mother was no more. Her father was in jail. She was all alone. She had nobody. Selena Taylor was a successful businesswoman. She owned a few restaurants across San Francisco, and she was also a partner of the BII News Corporation. After her divorce with Alex Taylor, Selena invested herself in her work. Her business flourished. She was always busy with work, visiting clients, and attending her meetings. It was during this time that she met a young man named Dylan Hoffman. He was charming and attractive. He encouraged Selena and supported her in every way. Selena connected with Dylan in a way that she had never connected with anyone before. They started dating, and their relationship progressed rapidly. Dylan practically took over a lot of Selena's worries and spent day and night managing her business affairs himself. He not only tried to make Selena's life easier, he tried to make life fun for her. He took Selena out on romantic dinners. He tried out new things to keep the love alive between them, and it all worked. It all worked to gain Selena's trust and loyalty. Selena literally handed over everything to Dylan. And that's just what he wanted. To be the new owner of the business, the property, the wealth. Dylan had deliberately proposed to Selena in the middle of their little vacation. In the heat of the moment, Selena enthusiastically accepted. Dylan hurried to get the paperwork signed. He told Selena they would host a grand party where they would surprise everyone with the good news. Once Dylan and Selena were legally husband and wife, it was time for Dylan's last step, to get rid of Selena and transfer everything to his name. The only thing in his way was Selena's daughter, Vanessa. Vanessa was a big obstacle in Dylan's plan. But he knew exactly what to do. He set the perfect trap. Dylan carefully took out Vanessa's knife with his handkerchief from her room. The police would find Selena's lifeless body along with this knife. All fingers would be pointed at none other than Vanessa. Unfortunately for Dylan, he underestimated Selena Taylor. Selena didn't believe her eyes when she saw Dylan standing there with a grim smile on his face. If this was how things were going to end, there was one last thing she had to do. Selena gave her best. There was no way she was leaving her daughter in the hands of this fraud, this monster. Selena took her last breath, laying on the floor. But Dylan sat crouched up in the corner of the room. He had been fatally injured. He held his stomach and felt the wetness seeping through his fingers. He knew he wouldn't survive. He tried to treat himself, but it was of no use. Slowly and miserably, Dylan's life ended from exsanguination, right next to his everything. Right next to Selena. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Lindsay Smith lived with her father, Carter Smith, and her stepmother, Anna, in Detroit, Michigan. Her parents got divorced when she was 10 years old, after which her father won full custody of her and allowed occasional visits with her mother, Madison Brown. Lindsay obviously had no say in this and had to go along with whatever her father chose for her. And things were acceptable to some point until he married Anna 3 years after the divorce. Lindsay is now 16 years old, and she's never really liked her stepmother because she felt that woman, aka annoying Anna, always invaded her privacy. And as for her father, they had a love-hate relationship. Overall, Lindsay felt trapped in her father's home and dearly wished she could live with her single mother. Unfortunately, that was never going to happen, but things did change a little. When Lindsay got her new laptop, she felt like she had much more freedom and life was good, at least for her. As for Carter and Anna, there wasn't a minute in the day when they could find Lindsay out of her room anymore, spending some good family time or simply helping around the house. Sweetie, don't you think it's time to turn that off and come down for dinner? Can't you see I'm doing something? Stop bothering me. Lindsay, there's nothing you're doing from which you can't take a 20-minute break and come down to have dinner. Ugh, stop making my life difficult. It's like you're always in my face. Just give me some space. I'm not a kid anymore. Sweetie. Did she just shut the door in your face? You know how teenagers are. I'm tired of fighting. I don't want this to escalate any further. No, we have to do something about it. She's going crazy living like this. Locked up in her room all the time with that laptop? You know what, Anna? When you get the chance, check her laptop. I want to know what she does on that thing. Anna always tried to be as nice as she could with Lindsay, trying to bond with her, trying to build a decent, loving mother-daughter relationship. But Lindsay wasn't someone to cooperate or comply even to the simplest requests. Sweetie, I got you those cookies you liked last time. Can you help me put away the groceries? I'm not your slave. Don't tell me what to do. Lindsay, here's your laundry. Put your clothes away, please. Why are you always bossing me around? Sweetheart, it's your clothes. I'm busy. Lindsay, why don't we go spend a day at the mall? Maybe we can drop by the salon and get our nails done. Have a fun mother-daughter day. Haha, no thank you. Don't try to be my mother. I have a mother, and she isn't a boring old housewife like you. She's a lawyer, and I'd rather spend my weekend with her. I'm hungry. What's there to eat? And I can't find my PJs. Where did you put them? Why, sweetie? Lawyers don't make sandwiches or do your laundry? Oh, you know I didn't mean it like that. I just meant it like you're my friend. Anna was a little reluctant to pry through Lindsay's laptop, but she understood Carter's concerns and she was a bit concerned herself. The way Lindsay was always locked up in her room was highly suspicious, and getting into trouble in the outside world these days was way too easy. So, while Lindsay was in the shower one morning, Anna decided to make good use of the opportunity. She sneaked into Lindsay's room and began checking all her things from her search history to her BII messenger and pictures. Lindsay, this is unbelievable. All of a sudden, Lindsay walked out of the shower and froze seeing Anna on her laptop. What do you think you're doing? Don't touch my laptop. This is what you've been doing on this? Lindsay, I never expected something like this from you. Lindsay nervously stared back and forth from her laptop to Anna. Please don't tell Dad. Don't tell Dad. Anna shook her head as she stepped out of the room. No, Lindsay, this is for your own good. Carter, I checked Lindsay's laptop and... What happened? Why do you look so worried? What I found on it... When Carter heard of what Lindsay had been up to, he couldn't accept this kind of behavior going on in his household, especially not coming from his teenage daughter. He immediately stormed down the hall as Anna followed and barged into Lindsay's room. He shut the laptop closed and pulled it away from his daughter. What are you doing, Dad? Chill! This is being seized until you learn how to behave and stop doing what you were doing on this laptop. What? What was I doing? You know very well, Lindsay. You can't take away my things. I can absolutely take away your things, and unless you change that attitude, you're not getting this back. It was her, wasn't it? She's lying to you about me, Dad. Why don't you ever believe me? She's always brainwashing you. Lindsay Smith, you're grounded. Go back to your room. Staring at her father, infuriated, scolding her, Lindsay began to tear up. She ran back to her room and locked the door. Mom, Dad took away the laptop you gave me. He did? Good. Don't worry, I'll handle this. The very next day, sometime in the evening, there was a knock on the Smith's door. Anna opened up to find 2 police officers holding up a warrant. Is Mr. Carter Smith here? Yes, officers. Is everything okay? We have an arrest warrant under his name. Please move aside. What? The police rather barged into the house and handcuffed Carter. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. What is this about? For what crime are you arresting me? You've been charged with property theft, classified as a Class B misdemeanor. Property theft? What? This is absurd. Anna tried to speak to the officers, but apparently to the law enforcement, logic didn't seem to matter when they had a warrant issued in her husband's name. Carter was taken to the precinct, where he was kept in a cell waiting for his trial. And 1 week later, he was standing face to face with his ex-wife, Madison, the woman that had not only charged him with the offense, but was fighting her own case because she was a defense attorney. Your Honor, my client's daughter is a 16-year-old minor, and as a parent, Mr. Carter Smith was exercising his parental rights to discipline his child. Judge, Mr. Smith has the right to discipline his child as a father, but he can't take disciplinary actions so far as to commit crimes. What he has done is theft. This laptop was my property that I had given to my daughter for her use. In fact, I'm still currently paying the installments for it. Mr. Carter Smith doesn't have the right to seize property that belongs to me. The court rules Mr. Carter Smith guilty of property theft and sentences him to 6 months in jail and a fine of $2,000. As for the custody of Lindsay Smith, it shall be transferred to her mother, Miss Madison Brown. When she called for a bench trial, I thought it would be easy for me to get out of this, but things absolutely went the other way. Don't worry, Carter. I'll find a way out of this. As the police took away Carter Smith in handcuffs again, Madison Brown wrapped her daughter in her arms, smirking at her ex-husband. Today's victory marked revenge taken for what happened 6 years ago. I guess I'm a better lawyer now, aren't I? Carter and Madison were in court 6 years ago, fighting for 9-year-old Lindsay's custody. At the time, Madison had just finished law school and was doing an internship at the BII law firm. Your Honor, since our daughter's birth, it was I who took care of her. Madison was rarely ever around. She has always prioritized herself and her career over everything, ruining our relationship and breaking our family. She's never been a good mother, and I doubt if she ever will. Full custody of Lindsay Smith is awarded to her father, Carter Smith. Carter had won the case that day, taking her daughter away from her as he smirked and left the courtroom. You sacrificed everything for your career, but in the end, you couldn't be a good lawyer either. Thank you, Judge. I was really counting on you. This man ruined my life and made my daughter's life difficult for the last 6 years ever since I left. Thanks, Mom. If it wasn't for you, I would have had to stay with them. It was just too much in that house. I couldn't take it anymore. That's why we made the plan. Dad's always restricting me from everything, putting a curfew time, not letting me go out with my friends, and that annoying Anna can't do anything correctly. She always messes up breakfast, she messed up my dress in the laundry, and then she takes credit for doing all the chores. That annoying Anna. Why do you think we got divorced? He's been like this his whole life. He never supported me. He says I only thought about myself, but all he thinks about is himself. I was only trying to build a future for us. I know, Mom, you don't have to feel guilty. I'm happy you understand. Look what I got for you. A laptop? Mom, you're the best. I know your dad very well. This laptop is gonna set you free from that man. Madison had plotted this whole gimmick. And Lindsay, well, she wanted to be with her mother, so she played along. However, despite how ridiculous this all was, when Carter was sentenced to jail, Anna went into a frenzy trying to figure a way out of this. So, she went to a lawyer. You have rights, serious rights, that won't be overlooked. You want your voice to be heard, you want justice to be served. Well, come on over to William Jenkins' office for your consultation today, because here at the Jenkins Law Firm, we don't stand for injustice. Mr. Jenkins, thank you so much for helping me. No, thank you for choosing me. So what's the case? A car accident? Doctors misdiagnosed you? Your boss mistreated you? I'll sue them all. I won't back off until you get what's rightfully yours. Oh, this is a property theft case. Yes. It all started the day my stepdaughter came home with a laptop her mother had gifted her. I see. It seems that Miss Madison Brown was only able to win the case because it was a bench trial. There was no jury, and possibly the judge was set up too. So this time when we file a reappeal, will request a jury trial. Your Honor, my client has been charged with theft of property, but in fact, this was never a matter of theft, but of custodial rights that belongs to Mr. Carter Smith as the legal guardian of Lindsay Smith. In the case that this laptop is someone else's property, as Miss Madison Brown claims is hers as a gift to her daughter, I'd like to raise a simple question. When a parent gives something to their child, do they keep legal documentation of who it belongs to? Once it was given to Lindsay Smith, she took ownership of it, and as Miss Lindsay Smith's legal guardian, Mr. Carter Smith is legally allowed to take temporary custodial control of her property. The child still owns the property, even if she may not be constantly in possession of it. Mr. Carter Smith has no ownership rights, nor does he claim any over the property of the child, but he does have legal responsibility under the doctrine of parental liability. This time, when the judge and the jury looked into the case, they ruled Carter Smith innocent of the crime. Carter Smith is acquitted from all charges, and the custody of Lindsay Smith is awarded to him. Mom, no, this is unfair. You have to go, Lindsay. I'm sorry. You can only hustle people. But guess what? You're professionally unethical, and you're still not a good lawyer. Lindsay had no choice but to return home with her father, and things were back to how they were, miserably living in that house. Or was it? Lindsay, it's time we have a talk about some new rules around the house. First of all things, this house is my property, and if you ruin anything, you'll have to pay a fine for it. You can't bring your property or anyone else's property into the house. And from now on, annoying Anna won't be bothering you anymore. Annoying Anna won't be doing anything for you anymore. You're 16, and you have 2 more years with us. So for the next 2 years, you'll be doing your own dishes, your own laundry, and all the chores. And if you don't expect any allowance either. But Daddy, come on. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. You know how much I love you guys. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Brenda woke up on the hospital bed. The last thing she could vaguely remember was being in labor with her baby. She turned to see her husband Ron drowsy on a chair beside her. Ron. Ron woke up startled. Brenda? He said as his eyes started to tear. I thought I lost you. You've been in a coma for the past 8 days. It was about 8 months ago that Brenda found out she was pregnant. The couple were happy upon the good news. Brenda wanted it to be a surprise, so she didn't even inquire the doctors of her child's gender. The couple decorated and stocked up their nursery from the very start. Why not? There was no harm in being prepared ahead of time. However, as Brenda neared her 3rd trimester, she started to experience some health complications. And it happened so that she had to be scheduled for an emergency cesarean delivery. After giving birth to her firstborn, Brenda and her child both suffered severe complications, and Brenda went into coma. Doctors told Ron it would be days till she woke up, or even months. Ron was devastated. He started to go into depression. Just until he heard Brenda's voice call out to him one morning in the hospital. Where's our baby, Ron? Is it a boy or a girl? Brenda excitedly asked. It's a boy, but unfortunately you can't meet him right now. Why not? Is he okay? Don't worry, he's safe and sound and most of all healthy. The doctors are taking good care of him. After another week, we can all go home together. Jamie looks just like you. Just look at my little boy. He's like a tiny version of you. Brenda laughed in joy, taking her baby in her arms for the first time. Oh, he doesn't look exactly like me. He's got your hair. He's just beautiful, isn't he, Ron? Brenda was taking care of her child 24/7. She was always with Jamie, and if not, she was either arranging his clothing or fixing up a jungle gym or booking a mommy and me class. Everyone except for Brenda herself could see how chaotic her life had become. Not that it had to be, but Brenda was overly attached to her newborn son. What? What was that? Ron, it's the baby. I heard the baby monitor. He's falling off the crib. Let me go. Hold on. Brenda, you need to calm down. Jamie is fine. I just now came from the nursery. It wasn't the baby monitor. It was the doorbell. Hello. Hi, can we help you? Oh, Mr. West called me here. Brenda, meet Maria. Maria, meet Brenda. I hired Maria to be Jamie's nanny. Don't worry, she's an expert. I found her after numerous interviews, background checks and all, and trust me, she's perfect. Let me show her around, and how about you finally get that sleep you need? Oh, wow, this is all a surprise. I could really use a helping hand. Thanks, Ron. Maria was an expert nanny indeed. Even at the most difficult times when Jamie wouldn't stop crying for hours, Maria could just hold him in her arms and make him stop in seconds. She was also kind enough to agree to help out around the house. She was an amazing cook. It's all right, Maria. This isn't good for Jamie's digestive system right now. I'll make his food. It's fine, I grew up eating this, Brenda. Did you not hear what I said? I will make Jamie's food. Brenda enjoyed the exotic food, but liking her tamales was one thing, and the way she tried to butt into Brenda's motherhood was another. Brenda wasn't only overly attached to Jamie, she was also overly possessive, and as a mother, she had all the right to be. Maria, did you get Jamie ready for his class? Yes, Brenda. Are you ready, my little burrito? You're looking lovely. I can just eat you up with a side of guacamole. What is this nonsense? This isn't the outfit I picked out for Jamie. I know, this is a little gift I got for Jamie. I hope you didn't mind. No, how could you think Jamie could wear this ridiculous outfit in front of people? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Now look, we're going to be late because of you. Don't you know how to listen to simple instructions? Mama. Mi amado bebe, your mama is a little busy right now. Mama, shh, I know how much you miss me when I'm away. Mama, do you want to call me Mama? Mama? What did you just say to my son? Brenda, Jamie was just now calling for you. No, you were teaching my son to call you Mama. What do you think of yourself? Just because you take care of him doesn't mean you're his mother, or you have any right over my child. It's not like that, Brenda. What do you mean it's not like that? I've been watching you. It's like you have the least regard for how I want to raise my child, and you've been handling him however you please. This is unacceptable. What happened, Brenda? Why are you shouting? This woman, I don't know where you brought her from. She's poisoning our child's mind. Next thing you know, Jamie won't even recognize us. What? Don't be silly, Brenda. What happened, Maria? It's nothing. Jamie called me Mama, that's it. Brenda, how can you be so immature? Come on. A lot of children call their nannies Mom. It's just a phase. For goodness sake, he calls me Mama too. Things went on like this. Brenda tried to monitor how Maria took care of Jamie. But what kind of nanny was a nanny if you had to babysit the nanny? Unfortunately, Ron thought Brenda was overreacting, and that this wasn't something to worry about. But he was to soon regret. The day that Brenda walked into the nursery and found it empty. Where was Jamie? This stealthy Maria must have ran away with the baby. But to Brenda's shock, she found Maria in the kitchen. "Where is my child?" "Jamie is sleeping in the crib." "He's not. Where is my child?" "What do you mean, Brenda?" Maria ran to check around the house as if she were panicked herself. Brenda was infuriated. She dialed up Ron immediately and asked him to return home as she caught hold of Maria. "You're not going anywhere until you bring my son back to me from wherever you're hiding him." "Brenda, why would I hide him? I don't know where he is." "This was all a plan of yours, wasn't it?" It wasn't long before Ron hurried home to find Brenda yelling at Maria. "Brenda, have you gone crazy? We have to call the police." "And hand this woman in? I will have her whole house searched." "Stop yelling at the nanny. If she took Jamie, then why would she be here? All of your attention has gone towards her while the actual culprit has gotten away with our child." "Ron, I want my son back. You have to bring him back to me." Ron and Brenda went to the police to report their missing son. Maria, however, was found innocent of any crime. But Brenda couldn't bear looking at her. She was fired from the job that very day. Days, weeks, and months were going by, and the police were unable to find Jamie. Brenda was devastated, and Ron was heartbroken, not only for his son, but to see his wife in this condition. As those months turned to years, the family finally started to recover from the emotional trauma when Brenda found out she was pregnant again 2 years later. She gave birth to Jesse, and not long after to another son, Jonah. This time, Brenda took care of both her sons on her own. No matter how exhausting it was, Brenda wouldn't trust another nanny again. Jesse and Jonah were now 9 and 7 years old. They went to school, loved to play, and sometimes make mischief. Life was starting to settle down again. Until one day, the boys invited home a friend of theirs. "Mom, this is Anthony." "Wow, you 3 boys look a lot alike." "It's not just that. We also like to play basketball and the same video games. That's why we're friends." "Oh, that's nice to hear. Do you live around here, Anthony? What's your mother's name?" "Yeah, but it's a little far from here. But I go to the park 5 blocks down. That's how Jesse and I met. My mother's name is Angela." "Come on, Anthony, I'll show you my action figure collection." "Cool." Brenda was stunned by the resemblance Anthony had with Jesse and Jonah, though he was a little older than them. She watched the boys all afternoon as they played their video games. Observing Anthony's speech, his body language, his likes and dislikes, Brenda was soon suspicious. She took her boys to the park that whole week and took the chance to watch Anthony there. There was something about this boy that struck her deep in her heart. How could the similarities be so striking? Could this be her own Jamie? Was this destiny's way of bringing her son back to her? "Boys, why don't you invite Anthony over to the house again?" "We did, Mom, but he doesn't want to come." "Why not?" "Guess it's too far from his house." Brenda wanted to speak to Anthony, but the boy didn't accept any invitations. So one afternoon, Brenda decided to approach him herself. "Jesse, Jonah, come here. You too, Anthony. I made ice cream. Why don't you have some?" "Cool. Thanks, Mrs. West." "How's your mother doing?" "She's well." "Anthony, which grade are you in?" "5th grade." "Wow. You're becoming a young adult. You must be 11, right? When is your birthday?" "April 3rd, 1989. Brenda suddenly let out a sigh. Deep down inside, she had convinced herself that Anthony would tell her Jamie's birthday, but he didn't. Jamie was born on May 16th. She looked at the boy having ice cream. What was it that bothered Brenda so much every time she saw him? "Gotta go, Mrs. West. My friends are waiting for me." Sure. Oh, what's this stuck in your hair, Anthony?" "Ouch." "Oops, sorry, buddy. Just a little dirt." Brenda smiled, dusting off Anthony's shirt. She watched him run off again, while she sat down and carefully put the strands of his hair into a container. A simple DNA test wasn't going to harm anyone. All evidence went against Brenda's suspicion, but a mother needed to be sure. She sent the samples to the laboratory and got a DNA test done. After a week, the results were mailed to her. Brenda was horrified by what she discovered. This is my Jamie. The DNA was a complete match. Brenda's hands were shaking in anxiety. She had to do something about this. Just from a few phone calls, and of course from her sons, she was able to get Anthony's address and immediately called the police, reporting she had found her son and also his kidnapper, informing them to arrive at the location, while she herself went there that very afternoon. Brenda anxiously waited for the door to open. "Mrs. West? My son, is your mother home? Who is it, Boppy?" Brenda was shocked to see none other than Maria. "Maria? You? I thought you said your mother's name was Angela." "My name is Angela Maria." Brenda barged inside, pointing at Maria. "I knew it was you. How could I be so gullible to let you go like this? You kidnapped my son." "This is not your son. Anthony is my child." "How dare you call him your son?" In the midst of the argument, Ron arrived at the house. "Ron, it's a good thing you're here. Didn't you say it wasn't her? You turned a blind eye while she was responsible." Brenda took out the DNA results. "I got the DNA test done. This is Jamie. He's a perfect match with you, Ron." Maria snickered as she looked at Ron. "What do you have to say, Ron?" "Brenda, calm down and just hear me out." It was 12 years ago that Ron met Maria at a restaurant. She was a foreign woman, struggling to cope with her new life in America. Working as a waitress at the time, she met Ron, the customer that always tipped her a little extra. Ron was attracted to her. Maria's beauty was eye-catching. And it happened so from one compliment to another that the two started seeing each other. However, things became complicated when Maria told Ron that she was pregnant with his child. She complained that she wouldn't be able to care for the child on her own. She was struggling herself to make ends meet in this new country, and she had no one other than Ron. Ron was ready to take responsibility, but on one condition, that everything would remain a secret. He was married. Brenda had recently given him the news that she was expecting as well. He had a good job, a good reputation, he made a lot of money. He couldn't risk it all. He would provide for his child and for Maria, but he would never own up to their relationship. At least, not until Brenda gave birth to a stillborn and went into coma. "You and I cannot be together, Maria, but I can give our child a better life." Ron set up everything from the staff at the hospital to the police, who didn't tell Brenda that her son was no more. Instead, when Brenda awoke from her coma, Ron handed her none other than Maria's child. Everything fell into place, but Maria couldn't stay away from her baby, so Ron had to bring her in as Jamie's nanny. And things only went downhill from there when Brenda became overly possessive about who she thought was her son. "Your wife is crossing the line. This can't go on like this. I agreed to give my son a better life, but not like this, not away from me. I want my son, and if you don't do something about this, I'll tell Brenda everything." Ron had no other choice but to allow Maria to have her son. That's when he staged his child's disappearance and the police investigation. And it had been for the past 10 years that he had been leading a dual life, providing for Maria and his son secretly while living a married life with Brenda and her sons as well. When Brenda had called the police in turn informed Ron to resolve his matters. The plan was cunning indeed, but some secrets just aren't meant to be secrets. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Celine and Walter were a happy married couple. They were content with their lives and were planning on having a child. Within a few months of trying, Celine found herself shopping from store to store, picking up things for her nursery. The couple's friends and family were overjoyed when they got the news that Celine was expecting. Things were going great. Celine and Walter were busy making arrangements for their baby's arrival. That was when Celine received a phone call. Celine burst into tears. Her mother had passed away. She was deeply grieved. Her mother was the only other family she had besides Walter. Her father passed away a few years ago, and she didn't have any siblings. Celine grew up in Tennessee, in a beautiful ranch-style house tucked away amidst the greenery and nature of the woods. After she got married, however, Celine moved with Walter into a small apartment in the city. Recently, Celine got a visit from her mother's lawyer. He came to Celine's apartment with some property papers. Celine's mother had left the family house as inheritance for Celine. Celine missed her mother dearly. She spent a lot of time looking through old pictures of herself and her family at the old house. She had so many childhood memories there. Her parents always tried to keep her happy and be there for her. Celine wanted to raise her child with the same love and compassion. She thought perhaps she and Walter could move to the family house. After some persuasion, Walter agreed. The house wasn't located too far from where they currently lived, so Walter wouldn't have a problem getting to work. It still was, however, an hour-long journey every morning. But Walter knew once the child would be born, they would need the extra space. Celine and Walter packed all their belongings and moved to the family ranch house. Celine was now 6 months pregnant. It wouldn't be long before they would have a beautiful child in their arms. Walter had requested his boss for a paternity leave. His boss was reluctant at first, but eventually agreed to give Walter 2 weeks off of work. Walter was saving the leave for the last 2 weeks of his wife's 3rd trimester. He wanted to be there to help Celine out. Since the moment Celine stepped back into her childhood home, she had been organizing and redecorating the house. Celine's mother had left all the furniture and belongings just as they were before. Celine was engulfed with memories all around her. As she went through all the rooms, she looked through old pictures and familiar toys. She wanted everything to be ready for the baby. Walter left for work every day early in the morning and wouldn't be back till 8 or 9 at night. Celine would wake up with Walter and prepare breakfast and leave the house with him. Walter would drive off for work and Celine would go on her morning stroll. The houses in the area were quite isolated. The nearest neighbors were a 20-minute walk away, and shopping meant you had to drive out far. Celine and Walter went out on a big shopping haul once every month. Celine enjoyed the lovely environment. Sometimes Celine would walk to the park. The people around here were kind and friendly and cared for one another. "Richard, Henry, at the park so early? How is everything? How is your mother?" "We're good, Celine. Mom's at home. She's fine. What's up with you?" "I'm great. Where's your elder brother, William? I haven't seen him around. And his friend, George?" "Oh, William and George are out of town. They went to Georgia." "Georgia? All of the sudden?" "Yeah, I heard them talking about searching for someone." "All right then. Have fun, you two. See you around." But usually, Celine would stick to walking the trail through the woods that bordered her backyard. Celine remembered her parents would take her down this very trail to the creek. Her father would show her how to skip rocks on the water, and sometimes the two would even try catching small fish there. Celine chuckled, remembering the day her mother was horrified when Celine brought home a live crab from the creek. Things were going well. As Celine came closer to her due date, Walter became all the more excited and nervous for the big day. Every passing morning became even more stressful for him. "Listen, Celine, if you feel the slightest pain, call me immediately. I'll be here as soon as I can." "Don't worry, Walter, everything will be fine." "No, Celine, don't try to wait it out for me to come back home. If you sense something, we'll go to the hospital immediately." "All right, Walter, there's still another whole month before the baby comes. Take it easy. We'll manage everything when the time comes." Celine waved at Walter drive out of the garage. She closed the front door and headed out to the backyard. The skies were cloudy today, and there was a soothing, cool breeze. It was the perfect weather to take a stroll down the trail. Celine began walking. She heard the crunch of the branches and twigs beneath her sandals. It was a long trail, but the walks every morning made her stronger. It made her feel healthier than she ever was before. Celine was halfway down the trail, in the middle of the woods, when suddenly she felt a piercing pain in her abdomen. She stood still for a moment and stretched out before she continued to walk. But the further she went, the more she began to feel a constant cramp to the sides of her stomach. Celine was a little confused. Was this what false labor pain felt like? Celine was only 8 months pregnant. Celine searched around her. She spotted a dry log and decided to take a break before continuing. The sun was now shining through the leaves. The forest ground was speckled with spots of bright sunshine. Celine could hear the water running across the creek in the background. She was almost there. As she was about to sit down, her sandal caught onto something and she stumbled back. She let out a small cry and lifted her feet. She had stepped on a sharp piece of splintered wood. Celine held her feet as she watched the blood drip onto the ground. Celine searched her pockets. She held her head when she realized she left her phone on the kitchen table back home. Well, the good news was the phone wasn't lost in the woods. Celine stayed positive. At least she had a tissue in her pocket. She wrapped it around her feet. After about 10 minutes, Celine got up again. She took in the fresh air. But when she had walked a few more steps, she was overcome with an intense pain. Celine had no choice but to sit down. She was unable to walk. She barely managed to lean against a tree and took shelter under its shade. Celine began to drop pearls of sweat. Her back felt like it would snap into two. The cramps started to happen more frequently. Celine became anxious when she came to the realization that this wasn't a false alarm. She was going to have the child. Celine tried to get up. She had to get back home and call Walter. But the pain had increased so much that Celine couldn't move. Celine closed her eyes as tears began to drop down her cheek. She took deep breaths and tried to assess her situation. Even if she would take a break every 5 minutes she walked, it would take her half an hour to get back home. Celine pulled through the pain and started to walk back to the house. But it wasn't before long that Celine started to black out. She felt dizzy and nauseated. She stumbled to the ground. Celine lay there in the agonizing pain. She looked up at the bright green leaves above her and wished someone would hear her cry, but she was too exhausted to speak a sound out of her lips. Celine heard a murmur in the distance. Were there some people nearby? She had to call for help. Celine opened her eyes. She was shocked to see she wasn't in the woods anymore. She was in a hospital. She jumped up and looked around. How did I get here? Who called the ambulance? Walter was sitting by her side, sleeping with his head on the bed. Startled, Walter picked up his head and rubbed off the sleep. Celine, you're awake? How are you feeling? Walter walked to the hospital crib and cradled his child in his arms. "She's beautiful, just like you." Celine let out tears of happiness when she looked at her daughter's face. "But when did this? How did I don't remember anything. How did you find me?" "Everyone is saying it was a miracle. The neighbors called the police when they heard a baby crying out in the woods. The police found you unconscious on the ground, and the baby was laying next to you, wrapped in a cloth. They immediately called for an ambulance and brought you here. I heard the news. I was devastated. I thought you were hurt. I thought our child was hurt. I couldn't believe how strong you were in such an adverse situation. The doctors said things could have gone wrong for both you and the child, since it was a premature birth. They couldn't stop praising you for how well you handled it. How did you do it, Celine?" "Walter, I don't know how it all happened. I don't even remember giving birth. It was a miracle. The pain was intolerable. I thought I was stuck there in the middle of the woods. I couldn't move. Everything started to get hazy. Everything was going dark. All I could make out was a bright, white figure standing in front of me. Before I fainted. There was someone there. No, it couldn't be. It couldn't have been a person. It was something beyond this world. It was unreal. Something saved me. Something saved our child." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Clara Newman was the mother of 2 children. She had a 16-year-old daughter, Bella, and a 9-year-old son, Andrew. It was 2 years ago that Clara's husband passed away, leaving her alone to raise 2 children in the busy city of Montgomery, Alabama. It was searching for a good job and a better place to live. The following summer, she successfully got a job as a nurse in the small town of Magnolia Springs. Magnolia Springs was a beautiful town. It was surrounded by luscious green forests all around. And the most breathtaking of all things the town was known for was the Magnolia River. Clara rented a 3-bedroom house just about 20 minutes away from the clinic where she got the job. Everything on the first day of moving in was obviously all out of place. Clara stirred up a pot of sloppy joe for dinner that night. Everyone was startled to a knock on the door. Clara furrowed her brows. Who could it be at 7 in the evening? Clara looked out the window and saw an elderly woman. She was a little taken aback at how she was dressed. The woman was a little hunched back and wore strange jewelry on her ears and neck, and had clothes that seemed to look like she tailored them herself. She was holding something in her hand. Clara opened the door. The elderly woman smiled and said, "Hello there, dear. I'm Mrs. Winkler. I live nearby. I saw you were new to the neighborhood and thought I'd come by to visit." The elderly woman peered over Clara's shoulder. What beautiful children you have. I hope you didn't mind me stopping by. I came here to welcome you and give you this pumpkin pie I baked. That is so kind of you. I'm Clara. Why don't you come in?" The elderly woman walked inside. "What a beautiful daughter you have." "Mrs. Winkler, let me get you a chair." "That's all right, dear. I won't be staying long." Mrs. Winkler was nice and kind. She seemed to like Bella quite a lot. There wasn't a moment she couldn't stop praising Bella. Clara was delighted to have spent the evening with such a kind neighbor. The people of Magnolia Springs were nice. She was happy she moved here. Over the week, Clara decorated her new home. The kids got used to school and figured their way around the area. One morning, when Clara was heading to work, she walked by one of her neighbors watering their garden. "Hello there, I'm Mrs. Simmons. You must be new here. I hope you like the neighborhood. How's everything going?" "Yes, I'm Clara. I recently moved here with my children. This town is lovely, but I still don't really know anyone around. The only neighbor I know is Mrs. Winkler. She came by my house the other day." "Mrs. Winkler? Who is that? I don't know of any Winkler family around here. This town is pretty small. We all know each other, but I can't seem to point out who Mrs. Winkler is." "Oh, well, she told me she lives nearby. She's an elderly woman, about 8 tall. She wears exotic jewelry." Mrs. Simmons widened her eyes. "I hope you're not speaking of that crazy woman, Ursula Bohm." "I don't think so. Mrs. Winkler was kind and polite. I didn't find her crazy." "That's only a deception, Clara. Everyone knows Ursula Bohm in this town, and no one is fond of her. She lives in the forest by the Magnolia River in a small cabin not too far from here. They say she's a witch. Nobody knows where she came from or anything at all about her past. Nobody even knows what she does for a living, how she affords herself. We see her now and then when she comes to town to pick up her groceries. I'm telling you, she's an evil soul. The word in town is that she brings evil omen to wherever she goes. I've witnessed it for myself. A few years ago, there was a couple here who had a baby. Ursula came to see the child. She praised the child greatly. But strangely, a few days later, the child fell ill and suddenly passed away. Then there was the time that Mr. Erickson brought home his wife from the hospital after 5 years. She was a cancer survivor. Ursula was seen roaming around the Ericksons' property just days before the woman took her last breath. I could tell you numerous occurrences over the years. It's like whenever something terrible happens, Ursula is always connected with it some way or the other. This old woman would be seen around that place before or after it occurs. Take my advice, Clara. You have young children. Keep them safe. Stay away from that old woman. Thanks for informing me, Mrs. Simmons. I'll look into the matter. You should come by sometime for some tea. I have to get going now. I'll be late for work. Clara found it quite frightening that everyone in town feared a so-called witch who lived nearby. But what was more nerve-wracking at the moment was the fact that she couldn't confirm who Mrs. Winkler was. Clara's day at work went by as usual. She came home around 6. Bella and Andrew were home already. How was your day, Bella? Cool. I met Mrs. Winkler when I got out of school today. I think she was waiting for me. Clara suddenly remembered what Mrs. Simmons had said. Worried, she asked, Really? What was she doing there? Did she talk to you? Hello, Mrs. Winkler. How are you? I'm doing well. How about you? Are you having any trouble living here? Nope, so far so good. Well, let me just tell you something for your own good then, child. These townspeople aren't actually as friendly as you suppose. They give me a hard time. These people have a bad tendency of blaming things on others when some calamity falls on them. They aren't good people. Try not to get too involved with anyone here. It will be better for you. Clara was shocked when she heard what Bella told her. Mrs. Simmons had guessed correctly. Mrs. Winkler was none other than Ursula Bohm. Numerous questions ran through Clara's mind. Was Ursula stalking her daughter? Why did she lie about her name? Clara strictly told her daughter, "Bella, this woman is no good. Don't speak to her. Stay far away from her. Try to avoid walking down the same road with her. And if you see her around, return home immediately." Clara became paranoid about the fact that some old woman was following her children. The next few days went by fine, but something about Bella started to frighten Clara. Bella had been waking up in the middle of the night screaming for help. Clara would run to her room to see Bella drenched in sweat, trembling out of fear. Bella had been experiencing horrible nightmares. It was after about a week or so, when Bella walked out the front doors of her school, that she found Ursula waiting for her by the street. Bella remembered what her mother told her and ignored the old woman and walked away as if she didn't even know her. For moments, Bella thought Ursula was watching her and sneaking behind her. After a certain point, she became so frightened she ran all the way home without stopping or even looking back. As time went by, Bella's health condition worsened. Clara decided to give her a break from school. Bella had been behaving quite odd lately. She picked on her food, only eating a few bites at dinner. She stopped brushing her hair or changing her clothes. Clara had been noticing Bella walking around the house at night. Clara searched for her daughter around the house, only to find her eating the leftover bones from dinner in the kitchen. When Bella saw her, she suddenly went berserk. She started growling and got onto her hands and feet. Clara was horrified. She gathered her strength and pulled Bella back to her room. When Bella continued to behave abnormally, Clara had no choice but to call a doctor over. The doctors, however, were of no help, and neither were the medications they prescribed. Things were going on like this, when one dark, stormy night, Clara heard the stairs creaking ominously. She immediately went out to inspect the matter. She was terrified to see her daughter crawling down the stairs, her hair covering her face, her arms twisted as if they had been dislocated. Clara ran to get her daughter. Bella was uncontrollable. Clara had to pour ice-cold water on her daughter to calm her down. She laid her daughter down on her bed and tucked her in. She waited for her to wake up. Clara sat there watching Bella as the eerie night rolled by. It was in a few hours that Bella woke up screaming again. Bella cried to her mother and said she saw Ursula in her dreams. Ursula was dragging her into the forest. She was taking her to a wooden cabin. Clara was thundered. She hadn't told Bella anything about Ursula. How could she be having these dreams? Clara feared losing her daughter. She had to do something. The next day, Clara went out into the forest, towards the Magnolia River. She followed a crooked trail that led her to a rundown cabin. Clara was a bit spooked when she saw the cabin. Twisted tree branches covered the roof and vines ran down the creaking wooden walls. Orange-yellow light seeped through the ripped curtains. It seemed that the only source of light was coming from a burning fire. There was an odd smell in the air. Clara could hear clanging noises of pots and pans from inside. Clara banged on the door. Within minutes, Ursula opened the door and chuckled, displaying her broken, chipped teeth. "What have you done to my daughter?" "What are you talking about? I'm just an old woman. What could I possibly do to your daughter?" "I know who you are, you liar. You're a wicked old woman." "Oh, so you've heard what the people say. Dear, I'm afraid they've poisoned you." Clara was infuriated. This old woman wouldn't answer anything she demanded to know. Ursula gave a creepy laugh and fiddled with her necklace. "No one has harmed me except you. I don't know what you want, but I'm warning you. If anything happens to my daughter, Clara returned home that night, hoping that the woman would back off of her family. Clara checked on her daughter. She was sleeping sound in her room. Clara went to bed. But her peace of mind was disturbed the following morning when she heard her neighbors yelling outside. "She's going to fall! She's going to fall!" Clara ran to check on Bella. Her heart stopped when she saw Bella climbing out the window. If Clara hadn't caught her, Bella would have been terribly injured. Bella's mental and physical state only worsened over the next few days. Clara was devastated. What could she do? She couldn't understand how Ursula was doing it, but Bella's strange behavior had no other explanation. The doctors were even bewildered by what Bella was going through. Clara was left with no choice. She was willing to do anything to save her daughter. If she let things go on like this, there was no doubt that she would lose Bella. In the middle of the night, Clara went out. She walked out into the forest, down the same path she had before. From a distance, she watched Ursula laying on her bed through her windows. "Ursula, I warned you of your fate. If anything ever happened to my daughter, you know very well what they do to people like you." Clara turned around and wiped her tears. She ran back home, wanting to forget all that had happened. Clara took a deep breath and entered her house. "Mom, where did you go at this time? I'm hungry. Make me something to eat." Over the next few days, Bella finally started to recover. She was still having nightmares every now and then, but she regained her appetite and began socializing more. Clara sat on her couch with her daughter and her son beside her. Clara surfed the channels. She stopped on an interesting headline on the local news. It was just a few days ago that an age-old cabin in the forest by the Magnolia River had suddenly caught on fire. By the time the authorities had been informed, the cabin had been burnt down to the ground. Police say an old woman known as Ursula Bohm had passed away in the tragic event. Clara turned off the TV. She looked at her children and smiled in relief. She was happy this was finally over. Clara opened the door. She furrowed her brows, not being able to recognize the man who stood on her porch. "Hello, is this the house of Bella Newman?" "Yes, how can I help you?" "You must be her mother. I'm Professor Henry Connery." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.